Good evening and welcome to the Gaunt podcast. With you for about half an hour, 40 minutes, see how it goes. Here's the title tonight. I'm ashamed to be British. What about you? It's because the way Starmer is representing us on the world stage. The man is, as I say behind me, a wimp. He is a wimp. Donald Trump is correct. And have you seen the way that Starmer has dodged and dived? He is more interested in his autobiography and how he'll be seen in the future than he is about protecting British lives, especially our soldiers. Let me explain why I say this, and I think you're going to understand me then. He doesn't want to be Tony Blair, mind you. Who would want to be Tony Blair? But seriously, he doesn't want a legacy where people call him a war criminal or all that nonsense that the sixth formers, the lefties, come out with. He is more interested in so-called international law and making sure he plays by the Kingsbury rules, even though it's talking about dealing with a dictator who made women second-class citizens and who killed at least 30,000 of his own citizens recently. It's a much more clear-cut case than Saddam Hussein. But this human rights lawyer is more interested in being a lawyer and saying later in The Hague, if it ever got to The Hague, oh, I did everything right. I did everything by the book. Meanwhile, he wants American aircraft personnel and American troops to go to war for him and indeed for us. He wouldn't let the Americans use Diego Garcia and indeed our airfields in this country. He said no. And he keeps going on. He's now had to change. He's done another U-turn on that. But his basic line is, we can use our airfields as defense, but they can't be used for offence. Well, I don't want to cause offence, Starmer, you spineless wimps, but the best line of defence is always attack. You have to have a military force that people are concerned about. Your enemies are concerned about. But you have shown us to be spineless, the whole country, spineless and weak. And that's unforgivable. So now, when the B-52s take off from, I think it's Missouri, they have to fly for 37 hours, the round trip, to drop the bombs on Iran. If they went from Diego Garcia or from Britain, it'd be hardly any at all. We are meant to be the allies of America. America, along with Russia, it's got to be said, saved our asses in the Second World War and certainly were instrumental in the liberation of Europe. But now, Starmer would rather be in his coalition of the willing, the fucking useless, in other words, than side with Donald Trump. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because he's a human rights lawyer and everything has to be done by the book. Well, we don't want a lawyer in charge. We want a leader. Do you think Winston Churchill sat there and went, oh, I don't know. I don't know whether I should do that. Oh, I don't know. No, he got on with it and won the bloody war. Starmer has already wrecked some of our chances of being successful with, regardless of whether you agree with the military operation, and I do, obviously, this man had to be removed, and it's been proved. Look at the way they're attacking Dubai. What's Dubai got to do with anything? They're going to wreck the economy, because this lot, they all want to live in the fucking Stone Age. They're primitives. They're savages. Which is another thing that we should stand up for. We believe in democracy. There is no democracy. Well, there have been people in this country saying it's wrong. There's a memorial service for the Ayatollah. The deputy leader of the Green Party, yeah, do you remember them? He was on a demo yesterday thinking this is all wrong. He lives in this country. He is an elected or representative of this country, or he wants to be. And then there's the gap-toothed twat, Zach, whatever his name is, his name's David, who's stirring the pot as well. But Starmer wants to go to a North London dinner party with people like that. Starmer's the kind of guy who wants to get on the Laura Kunsberg show, have a nice chat with everybody in the dressing room, have a little bit of a ding-dong, but not too much of a ding-dong, because he doesn't believe in a single thing that he comes out with. He's got no political philosophy. He's not Mrs. Thatcher. He's not Arthur Scargill. He's not Winston Churchill. He's not even the beast of Bolsover or indeed Tony Blair. He's a spineless, empty vessel. That's what he is. A complete and utter joke. And now he's embarrassed us on the world stage. So today, Trump gives an interview to the Daily Telegraph and he says, well, I feel really let down by Starmer. And who can blame him? When they wanted to sort out Ukraine, who did they call? Donald Trump. They had their coalition of the useless, but without the firepower of the United States, they could do sweet FA. So Trump comes over, sorts out, hopes to sort out Ukraine. Same with Israel and indeed with Gaza. They all talk a good game, all these uber liberals, let's have a fondue together, right? But they don't ever do anything. Look at Barack Obama. Did he sort out the Israeli question? No. Did he deport more people than Trump? Yes. Does he get bad press for it? No. Joe Biden, apart from shitting his pants, what did he achieve? But they all want to have a go at Trump. So now Trump says, Diego Garcia, I want to use it. Starmer says, no, you can't. He's changed his position today. But even today, when he gave his speech, he's done 2 videos today. The one this morning, he goes, oh, they asked us. And it's all very clever. And it's all short sentences. It's all clipped because he is talking lawfare. He's talking in a lawyer's way so that nothing can be pinned on him. Remember this saying? Jimmy Savile never came across my desk. That's what happens because this bloke never takes responsibility. That's what's going on. So today he said, they've asked us, can we use them? And we said yes, but only for defensive purposes. What does that mean? What does that mean? And then later in Parliament, he said, yes, well, the best way to destroy their planes is when they're on the floor. No shit, Sherlock. So in about 3 hours, he decided that we were going to be an offensive force. We were going to attack. But he's covering it all up with words because a bit like Culture Club, war, that song War, he thinks in cliched terms. He doesn't want to actually kill anyone, which I'm afraid you have to do to win a war. All the uber liberals, I've had them all on me on Twitter today. They're all absolute Burks. What about international law? Do you think the Ayatollah sat there and said, let's talk about international law? Before we hang all these guys in the street off cranes, before we push a few more gays or transvestites off high-rise buildings, can we just look up international law? To get the phone out. Oh, there we are. International law. Can we push gays off tower blocks? No, we can't, Ayatollah. Oh, well, fuck it. Let's just do it anyway. That's what you're up against. Have they not seen the Iranian people dancing in the street? They've got their liberty. It's the beginning. And that is because of Donald Trump and because of the United States of America. It's not because of Macron. They haven't got 2 2 bob, 2 francs, 2 euros, and a conker to rub together. Plenty of other things they could rub together, no doubt, but not the cash, not the ability. Do you know, at the moment, Cyprus, beautiful place, I've been there many, many times, Cyprus is being defended at the moment by the Greek Navy. They've sent 2 frigates up there. Why? Because we ain't got any. We haven't got any. I'm not going to blame all that on Starmer because it's successive governments. But what's happened to the idea of Rule Britannia? How did this nation win 2 world wars and is now losing out to flip-flop warriors with their leather jackets, their designer gear, and their brand new mobile phones? And then Shabina Mahmood said today, oh, we're going to tighten up how people can get in and it'll only be temporary. Really, hellers like. Because it's true. A lot of Iranians are going to try and come here now. Are they ready for that? Have they sorted that out? No, not at all. And I see there's another nut job running around the streets of Edinburgh with 2 carving knives. I don't know whether he's a recent arrival, but how come we've descended to this? And that pompous, pious prick stands up in Parliament and talks like this, and everything is slowly, no sentence is more than 4 words, because he is scared of his own shadow. You could hear his arse cheeks clanging from Coventry. And what he's done also, this is the thing that will never be repaired. He's wrecked the special relationship. Do you think Trump's ever going to trust him again? Trump gave an interview to the Daily Telegraph to deliberately stitch Starmer up. Starmer is a wimp. And then Peter Exgarth, or whatever his name is, who's their defence minister, did you see him? He said, some of our allies need to stop clutching their pearls, in other words, being so sensitive, and get on with winning the war. Well, the question I'm asking you tonight is, who would you rather be running this campaign? President Donald Trump or the wimp that infests number 10 at the moment? This is leadership that sounds like it's being delivered. I said this in, I really like this line, through a 1970s answering machine. Do you remember them when they clicked in and they set off? That's what he sounds like. I'm fed up with a prime minister who seems more concerned about legal footnotes than a national backbone, mainly because he hasn't got one. This country used to project confidence, strength, clarity, oh, dare I say this, unity. Oh, but what do we get now? Lectures. We get pearl clutching. We get international law. We get be kind. Recited constantly like it's a bedtime story for morons. Meanwhile, the world is moving on fast and we just look like hesitant wimps. You don't have to agree with everything that Donald Trump says. I certainly don't. To recognize one thing, that Trump projects strength. He makes decisions. He doesn't sound like he's drafting a closing submission to the High Court or the court in Brussels every time he opens his gob. Because do you know why? Leadership is about conviction. It's about clarity. It's about making hard calls, tough decisions, and then owning them. But right now, the United Kingdom feels like it's being run by a overcautious barrister, worried about his legacy. That's what it's about. It's about, choo-choo, can I get the job at the WEF? Can I get the job at the United Nations? Can I get another big job? That's what Starmer's after. He knows he's toast. He knows he's finished. He's not a leader who's prepared to take risks for our great country, and therefore he's not a leader. Now, I know some of you will disagree. Good, because that's what this show is about. But tonight I'm asking, is this strength, or are we watching managed decline dressed up as morality? Strap in. Let's get to it. Let's get started Keir Starmer is making Britain look weak. Donald Trump is 100% correct. Are you with me or are you against me? 15 minutes of that. Thank you very much indeed. I did want to say a big thank you to Richard Pope. Just before I came on air, he sent me 5 beers or 5 coffees and he wished me a happy birthday. Thank you, Richard. It's not today. It's actually tomorrow, but I'm getting in the mood for it today. So thank you very much indeed. 25 quid. That's a great contribution. And he said some great things about the show as well. Sarah Maria CM. She's our first one on board tonight. She says on Facebook, I heard his planes could only do U-turns. Yeah, they just go in a circle. I'll tell you something. I'm hoping to get him on tomorrow. One of my best mates, Maz, he's actually in Dubai. I phoned him yesterday because I was worried about him. He phoned back today. He's there with a load of footballers and sports stars. I won't say who they are, but there's all this noise in the background. They're all on the old PISS. He gave up drinking about a year. He said, I must admit, John, I'm thinking I should take up drinking again. I said, don't. You don't need it. I said, what's it like? He says, it's bizarre. He said, I'm on the sun lounger, and then suddenly you see a drone fly past in the sky. A few minutes later, you hear... I said, is it scary? He said, kind of, but it feels a bit like a movie, a bit like a video game. And he's in the real posh end of Dubai. You know where the big hotels are? I don't think I'd be that calm. And I know we're now trying to get them all out. But I don't know. I just think the whole thing is bonkers. We've got to project hardness, toughness. Does Starmer ever do hard? Evening, John. He's an embarrassing coward, says Strawberry Atheist, one of my regulars, who's obsessed with international law. How about protecting British laws? Well said, Strawberry. David KT in Coventry says he's just aligning with the EU, France and Germany, and protecting his Muslim voters. Yes, bang on the money, David. That is exactly what he's doing. But France, Germany, are they going to be... I noticed you didn't write Italy, because they're not going to be with us. They're going to be with Trump. This man was a foul dictator. We should all be dancing in the street. I'm glad that he's dead. And I hope that he kills the rest of them. Oh, no. War is... What's that song? What's the line in that song? War is something... I don't know. Anyway, Nick Johnson. Have you heard about the stabbing in Edinburgh today by the illegal migrant? He's tried to get into a nursery first, unbelievably. Careful, Nick. I don't think they've actually said he's illegal yet. I don't know where you're getting that from, but, careful. Unless it's been confirmed. If you can say it's confirmed and point to the where it is, I'll take that back. He's given away Diego Garcia. So Mauritius can then refuse to allow the USA to use it when World War III kicks off. I'm not sure in the past tense. I think World War III may well have already kicked off. They're allowed to use it now because basically he said, what did he say? Trump invited us to change our mind. Invited. He probably rang up and said, Starmer, you absolute tosspot, right? You better let us use Diego Garcia. Can you believe that Starmer put the American Air Force into a position where they had to fly for 37 hours to bomb Iran when they could have used our bases or bases around the world, Diego Garcia being one of them? What kind of man would do that? And then he comes out, I'm be kind, I'm liberal, I'm this, I'm that. War's terrible. No, you're a fucking wimp. And you're not only a wimp, you're one step away from being not Jack, what's his name? David, Zach, whatever what's his name? That gap-toothed idiot from the Green Party. Are you with me or against me? And of course, you're right. They did want us to give it and pay for it to Mauritius. Thank God we didn't. Well said, says Sarah Marie. Thank you. TV Steve Harris says it's all very embarrassing. It certainly is. Oh, that's nice. Look, Thomas Ashfield has just donated £9.99. It's a tenner on YouTube by clicking the little $ sign next to the comments. Thank you very, very much indeed. Every penny, every pound helps because we need independent broadcasters at the moment. I mean, I think GB News, especially Mark Little, and of course Dawn Newsom have done a brilliant job. But there's also a need for the more unregulated side of it, i.e. me. So why don't you help fund it? Just whatever you can afford. Just go to that little dollar sign, click on it, and just give what you can. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Then you get your name down here. I've got to get that up to date. I do apologise. And that's exactly what Richard did before the show. He put 25 quid into the pot. Top man. I'm not talking politically, but Starmer is pathetic. Is a pathetic weasel. I bet his children are so proud of that excuse of a man, says Lena Teal, 75251. Yeah, don't bring his kids into it, but I know what you mean. He's an absolute arse, isn't he? Yeah? Let's move on. Have you heard about the illegal migrant today in Edinburgh? I've just read that one out, and we don't know whether it's true, so we have to be careful. That's not just there's enough to go on without speculation. Strawberry says we're meant to be America's main ally. Starmer has made us look stupid, though Trump is aware the British government and the government and the British public and the government have different ideas. I think that's right, Strawberry. But today I'm ashamed to be British. I am ashamed. I shouldn't be, because it's not his country, it's our country. Well, he's part of it, but he's not representing what Britain feels at the moment. He isn't on any subject, which is why I've been calling for him to resign from almost the first minute he got the job. He's effing useless, but he won't go. Do you know why? Because I'm a human rights lawyer. I was the director of the public prosecution. Jimmy Savile never came across my desk. The Ayatollah never came across my desk. And the lies that he comes out with. He's Billy Bullshitter, isn't he? None of them are actually Persian, so I have no commitment to it. Remind you of anything? No, not really. I'm a bit confused. But I tell you what people are getting worked up about. They're thinking Iran and Iraq is the same. No. Lessons have been learned from Iraq, right? He didn't have the missiles of mass destruction. I was taken in by. I'm the first to admit that. However, the world's still a better place without Saddam, just like it's a better place without the Ayatollah and the rest of them. And they're now attacking hotels. And they're attacking Abu Dhabi, Qatar, other countries. Attacking boats, ships. We should wipe them off the map. Not the ordinary Iranians. They want us there. But we've also now, I think, got to send in some crack troops who can foment a little bit more of aggro on the streets. Oh, the liberals will hate that. But that's what special units are there for, isn't it? It's time now to get some imaginary boots on the ground. I had somebody today said, oh, you just want to send our kids to fight, you fat old git. It won't be you. Well, it's like, you're so binary. You're so stupid. These people will kill you. They want to kill tourists at the moment. These people are gangsters. These people are terrorists. They support terrorist organizations. Hamas, Hezbollah, the IRG. Let's just talk about that for a moment. The Iranian Republic Guard. Every other country, more or less, in the world has proscribed them, have called them a terrorist organization. Guess where their European headquarters are? London. Has Starmer done anything about it? No. The jellyfish amoeba spine hasn't done it. So they're here. And people say, oh, yeah, we've got sleeper cells as well. Oh, that makes me feel really confident. Your views, please. Starmer is destroying Britain. I want to know who's paying him and if he's working with the Dems in the US. I don't know about that, Jay Clough. He's very anti-Trump. That's very true. Femi did well again today. I don't know why, but I really like... Oh, you mean Kemi? Kemi. I thought you meant Femi. That idiot who was the anti-EU man. Not him. Okay, you mean Kemi. Yes, you did. I thought her points that she made in the Commons were good. Where are we going next? Found out today that Chancellor Reeves... Oh, yeah, I saw this story, Pam Millett, one of my regulars here. Excuse me. You know, I had that cold for weeks and it went. Woke up this morning, my head's on fire. I've got a head cold now. I've got to be better for tomorrow. I'm going out for a curry. First day, well, I think today might be the first day. First day of my birthday celebration. 65. I was meant to be a millionaire by now and a household name. I'm neither, but hey, life ain't too bad. Sorry, Pamela. Found out today that Chancellor Rachel Reeves is best friends with an Islamic man called Keaton. I believe Starmer doesn't want anyone want to help anyone who wants to fight any Islamists. So you're making the link. That's a disturbing story, isn't it? It's been brought forward by the little bloke who's just left Jenrick. I don't really like him, you know, but there's something about him. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's an interesting story. TV Steve Harris, what's he saying? John, you're hilarious. You taking the mickey? Starmer is defending Iran like he did with Jimmy NFA. Who's Jimmy NFA? I haven't got a clue what you're on about. Oh, it's Tony Whitworth. He loves talking in acronyms. Write what you're trying to say, you arse. Otherwise, I can't. I would love you to have a go and see if you could do what I'm doing. I don't think you know how difficult it is. It's just me here in the back bedroom. Got my computer, got my cameras up, got everything up. But there's no one to assist me because I can't afford anyone. So write what you're saying. Don't write in acronyms. Shouldn't be winding me up today. It's my birthday. Thank you, by the way, for all your donations. If you want to donate, click the little $sign, or alternatively go to www.buymeacoffee.com. And don't forget to like this transmission, this broadcast, and subscribe to John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Hi, Chom. This is Niven Casey. Starmer isn't only terrified of his international law buddies, it's also an ever-shrinking portion of the voting base. You're right, Niven. And he's attracting a certain voter base, isn't he? Because he wants 10 years, don't forget. There's a name. He's a masochist, isn't he? The way he's been beaten up. Why would you want to do another 5 years of this, you jerk? Den Spinks. Starmer doesn't know which way to turn, John, because he knows he can't make one side happy without upsetting the other. He's as far out of his depth right now than he's ever been. Be gone, Starmer, now I say, you fool. Thank you very much indeed. Strawberry is repeating what I said earlier, which is right. The best defence is always offence. Dazzle in Wales says he's a lawyer, not a leader. And that does sum it up. It does sum it up. It's on the one side of this, on the other side of this. By the way, if you want to retweet or restream it, do that. Tell all your mates to be watching. So at what point will he actually resign? What does it take exactly? Well, vote of no confidence from his own party. The men in grey suits going in and saying, look, it's time to go. But they know if they do that, they're out of office. Because if he went to a general election, which he threatened to do the other week, they would all lose their seats and they'd all lose their their place on the gravy train. So they're not going to vote for that. You'd hope he had some morals and that he just looked at himself one day in the mirror like that. And he thinks, I can't fucking do this. And it's not doing me any good doing it. I've got to stop. What do you think? Sorry to keep blowing my nose, but there we are. Oh, dear. Where are we going next? Jay Clough says he's a winker. There's no A in winker. Tyrants don't attack tyrants. Starmer's colours are out in the open. Not sure that's correct. Liam Tail. Why are they suddenly taking extra breaks during Premier football matches? So to allow Muslims to break the fast. Whatever next, for F's sake. That story is just ridiculous. Like I said yesterday, if you watch the show, all you do is you move the kickoff time, don't you? So that the fast breaks, isn't it when dusk first comes, they can start eating and drinking again? Well, why don't you just move it a little bit? Then no one has to get upset. But stopping a football game because of a minority's religious beliefs is wrong. I think there were three Man City players? I think it's wrong. I don't think that's anti-Muslim to say that. I don't think it's racist, but it's clearly wrong, isn't it? Embarrassing for Britain. Starmer has made this whole country look like cowards that betrayed their allies. Absolutely. Mark Friston on Facebook. Thank you for that indeed. Where are we going next? Leanne Teal, naughty. Is it another Welsh choir boy in Edinburgh? I don't know what you mean by that, but let's move on. We do not trust him. And it's not just us. Thank you very much indeed. Jay Clough says Trump. What does that mean? John, shall we all get together and set up a home front dad's army? Well, that'd be one way to stop people coming in at Dover. We'd probably make a better job of it than, what's it called, border farce. I think we could do. Right. Trump, hands down, this person's saying, because I'm asking, or Sarah Marie, I'm asking, who would you rather have, Trump or Starmer? Every time Keir speaks, he pisses me off, says Jay Clough. I think my wife probably thinks that about me as well. I think that's like all fellas, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. We're going out for a meal tomorrow, me and Lisa, first time in ages. She said, what would you like? I said, we'll go for an Indian, because we're going for an Italian at the weekend with the girls. And yeah, I'd like an Indian. So that's what we're doing. So she came in tonight. She said, have you booked the table? I said, it's my birthday. Oh, she said, okay, then I'll do it now. So what are we going to talk about for 3 hours? Sorry, anybody help? If you can, it's fine. And thank you for those people who are wishing me a happy birthday. It's actually tomorrow. And don't forget, tomorrow's show, there will be a show at 6, but it'll be a pre-record that I've done earlier in the day. So if you want to be involved in the live bit, it'll probably be done about 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay? Mahmood has got problems with the immigration policies she wants to bring in by, again, lefty immigrant sympathizers. Yeah, she's got to deal with them, hasn't she? She's got to deal with that. You're absolutely right. Nigel is right. He's a follower, not a leader, Tony Foskett says. And I presume you're talking about Starmer there. Thank you. I have to agree with Farage. He said it'd be a mistake for us to have boots on the ground in Iran. And he's right, as we've got no blooming army due to the woke brigade. Well, yeah, you're right, Jake. I don't want to see loads of people go, and I don't want blood spilt. I certainly don't want it spilt in Ukraine and Russia. But this nonsense he was coming out with today, Jake, that we're only going to use our bombers and our fighter aircraft, if it's to defend, it's just bullshit, isn't it? Because then later he said, and the best way to put those planes out of action isn't when they're in the air in a dogfight. Best bet, do it when they're on the ground. So we'll go in and get them when they're in the hangars. Well, that's offense, isn't it? That's not defense. Don't get me wrong. I think it's brilliant. On you go. Get on with it. And all these people, it's going to escalate. It's going to be World War III. I don't think it's going to be that either. As I say, my mate, he's sitting by the swimming pool. I can hear them all in the background. And then he said, a drone comes over. And then we count. And, that's something else he told me. And I haven't seen this on any of the news. Evidently, the, what do they call themselves? The people who run Dubai, the government, they're paying all the expenses. Not straight away, but you can put a claim in at the end. Because obviously they don't want the tourist industry decimated forever. Because people used to want to go to Dubai because it's safe. Can't really say that now, can you? So, Jake, thank you for your comments. Oh, yeah, the Italian leader is brilliant. She certainly is. And she's got bigger balls than any bloke running any other European country. Where are we next? Paul Rowbottom. Oh, come on. Wait a minute. War is stupid. The Culture Club song, yeah. War is stupid. That's the song. But that's how a lot of these lefties think, Paul. Do you see what I'm saying? They think in this very binary way. Sometimes war and sometimes force and sometimes... I wrote about this in my book that I'm trying to get published at the moment. There's a guy in it, the hero. He's a bit violent. And he gets off with this middle-class girl. And he says, I'll sort that problem out for you. Do you know what I mean by that? And she says, no, violence never solves any problems. And his reply, and I think this is accurate, you tell me whether you think I'm wrong, extreme violence sometimes does solve the problem. It's right, isn't it? Anybody who comes from a kind of working class background, it's true. Not very nice. Not the sort of thing you say at a dinner party and with your fondue set on your Habitat furniture with your little pull-down light. Starmer, is it? Sarah says, keep voicing for us, John. Thank you very much indeed. Nick Johnson says, the Scottish Sun. What are they saying? That it's an illegal? Okay, well, we'll check that. I say we check that as if I've got a load of people. Oi, you, second assistant producer, just check that, will you? And come back to me in my headphones. Tell me we ain't got anybody. Terry Wheatley. Hi, John. The Greens and Liberals don't get it. Iran have been killing their own people for decades, but they refuse to ignore this, to acknowledge this. Two useless parties together. That's absolutely correct. And I think also that's the point where we've been tolerant of the intolerant, haven't we, in this country? How have we got to a position where we got people painting Winston Churchill's statue or marching on the street saying death to Israel? How's that happened? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Or a police chief constable who says, we won't let the Jews come and watch a football match. We'll put them in a basketball court, but we'll let the fascist Muslims come. Surely you don't let any fascists. You don't care what religion. But that's where we got to with the woke cultural Marxist brigade, isn't it? And this one, they've got a real dilemma. This is why they're so aggressive on Twitter at the moment, but especially to me. I love it. I do. Ding! It's like ching. You know, I think I've built up another 2,000 followers or something. It's brilliant stuff. But they're so crude. And they use the see you next Tuesday word like all the time. And then they would, in their things, they pronouns, she, they, them, whatever, bullshit, yeah. And they go feminist, that's a bloke. No bloke can be a feminist, that's absolute bullshit. But anyway, that's what they say. But then they go, you are C-U-N-T, you're this, you're that. I had one today, listen to this one. One today, he didn't like what I said to him, which was just an insult, it wasn't new. And he said, you'll be where your best mate is soon, James Whale. In other words, celebrating James Whale having a tragic death, which he did. He thinks I'm his mate. Me and James Whale never really got on, actually. I think he was good at what he did. But we weren't mates. But what a horrid thing to say. He only died. He's hardly cold. But this is what the be kind. Oh, yes, I'm liberal. Let them all in. Oh, yeah, I would never do anything like that. And then they say the see you next Tuesday word all the time. I find it odd. Sam Morgan, I thought he was starting to talk some sense for a minute earlier, but for a minute only. Kemi retaliated well. This is in the comments. Well, I guess, but Keir's out of his depth now. There's widespread crap about loud planes at night in the last week. It's the jets slowing down to refuel, plus the tankers. They should be allowed to refuel here at least. No, they should be allowed to take off from me. It's an absolute disgrace that Keir Starmer says, oh, no, you can't use our airfields to bomb a fascist regime out. No, you can't. Oh, no. And then he comes up with this thing about, but you can use it to defend us. So I don't get the difference myself. If you're going to get vaporized by one of these high-tech jets, does it really matter who started it? It's a bit childish, isn't it? You started it. My dad's bigger than your dad. It's not Radford Common when we were kids playing football with the posh kid. And then, of course, he had the final one, didn't he? It's my ball. I'm going home if you don't want to play by my rules. Then he got a kick in. So it sorted itself out one way or the other. But you know what I'm trying to say. Maggie Young, America. our strongest allies. Starmer messing around with them is very frightening for our country. Yes, you're right, Maggie, because what happens if we then need them? Oh, President Trump? Yes. Sir, we've got a request. It's Keir Starmer on the phone. Keir who? Keir Starmer. He's the Prime Minister of Britain. Oh, yeah. What's he want? Oh, you mean that wimpy one? Yeah. Well, Mr. President, he says they're being invaded. They've been getting invaded for ages. I've been telling them that. They said I was politically incorrect for saying it. I can't do the American accent. Have you realised? No. They're actually invaded now by a foreign country. Really? Yeah. They want our help. Tell them I'm washing my hair. That's what will happen. You don't think Trump's going to commit? He's already said, I'm not committing to NATO anymore because you lot don't pay in. Your views. Patrick Quill, he says, Starmer's a traitor. Starmer's extreme caution over Iran isn't thoughtful democracy. No, it's pure and utter cowardice. Iran has been a problem for years, but to be honest, their military is crumbling unless Russia or China support them. You're right, Strawberry. Did you see Putin? Looks like Putin might support them. That's why let's get it finished. Let's get it finished now. Let's bomb them to the Stone Age. The military people I'm talking about. Breaking, says TV Steve Harris. Breaking. The UAE is expected to run out of interceptor missiles within roughly a week at its current usage rate, while Qatar could deplete its supply in as little as 4 days. Yeah, so it's a bit desperate, isn't it? Huh? What's this? Craig Melvin says, millionaire, you're still the Gaunty we like. Oh, yeah, because I said that I meant to be a millionaire by now. I'm certainly retired. Can't believe I'm still working. Millionaire, you're still the Gaunty we like. Thank you very much, Craig. That's very kind of you. Then he goes, Jaguar. Yeah. I think if I ever make a bit more money, some money, rather than get a brand new Jag now, because they've gone all woke anyway, haven't they? I think I'd just get one of the ones I used to have. An XJ. Beautiful car. You can pick them up for about $9,000, I think. I ain't got $9,000, but I can fantasize, can't I? I had a silver one of them and a red one. They were brilliant. They were absolute. They had that suspension where when you could turn around corners, everyone rocks. I used to think I was in the Sweeney or something. Two in the ceiling. Anyway, no one's donated. What's up with you? No one's donated. Oh, some people did earlier, but nobody now. Starmer doesn't want to lose his Muslim voter base. That's why he won't help Trump, says Paul McGolkin. I think there's some truth in that, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Thunderbird Greta on her flotilla to help the Iranian regime. No, she's not doing that, is she? Huh? We used to be known as the bridge. Now we seem to be the block, as the EU dictators want less influence within the EU so as to introduce their EU army under complete control of Brussels. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Mine's the 26th. Then it's written Goulston Hospital, which will mean nothing to most people, but that was the maternity ward for lesbians. I got born at home, actually. They don't do that anymore, do they? Yeah. Me and my two brothers, home delivery. Yeah. Honest. But nowadays, they all want it in swimming pools and stuff like that, don't they? Paddling pools. And I know when Rosie was born in Livingston, we were living there at the time, and Lisa made me carrying all this stuff that she wanted. Whale noise. And I think we even took a whale in. I can't remember quite. But, she had all this idea of what it was. And she didn't want any drugs. And she had been going to the National Childbirth Trust and stuff. And, so I'm walking in with all these bags. I've got so many bags. I've got arms like Galen out of Planet of the Apes, right? And there was this really formidable sister called Sister Black, right? Scottish woman. 3 foot nothing of pure vitriol and spite. Well, that's how I thought of her when I first met her. She said, "Oh, Mr. Gaunt, are you coming to stay?" She didn't believe in men being there at all. She was one of them. She was brilliant. And if you ever go to Livingston and speak to people about Sister Black, everybody knows her. She delivered basically every single kid in Livingston Newtown, or that's what it felt like. Because underneath that stern approach, she had a heart of gold. Fantastic woman. And then I put the whale music on. She said, what the hell's that? I said, oh, it's whale music. She said, I prefer the bagpipes myself, right? Anyway, Rosie was born. And then, although it took quite a long time, but then Lisa had a panic. I think the second day after Rosie had been born, you know, they take the babies away and they clean them up and all those things they do. I don't know what they do. Because Sister Black says, oh, you staying, Mr. Gaunt, whilst the birth. I said, yeah, that's all right. And then it starts to happen. Have you been there, lads? You're at the top end, aren't you? If you know what I mean. And Sister Black must have thought, I'll teach you a lesson. Mr. Gaunt, would you like to come down here and have a look? Oh, no, thanks. But she made me. Anyway, Rosie had the most black hair ever. Born with loads of it, right? Which evidently Asian babies, they're born with a lot of hair. But, of course, in Scotland, most of them are pasty-faced ginger nuts, right? So Lisa one day woke up in the maternity ward and panicked because the baby wasn't there. Sister Black, somebody's taking my baby. No, it's in the, the antechamber or whatever. And she said, well, how would you know? She said, there's no mistaking your baby, Mrs. Gaunt. Now calm down, have a cup of tea, and we'll move from there. Didn't take any nonsense. Fantastic. Don't you love people like that who are stern, but actually it comes from really caring. Nice people. She's a lovely woman. I don't know whether she's still around, but Rosie, she's a typical jock. Excuse, I don't mean to be racist. I'm not being racist. I'm just saying. Rosie, we only lived in Livingston for another 6 months, but if you speak to Rosie, she's I'm Scottish. There's no two. And you watch the rugby or the foot, she's Scottish. I love that. It's Celtic, isn't it? It's something within them. We haven't really got that, the English. Here's something, John, we're not allowed to because that'd be racist. Here's something, John. Iran supplies Russia with thousands of drones. If the US and Israel destroy the factories and the stocks, or Russia's ability to wage war would be severely curtailed. That's an interesting point. The use of drones in this particular war been fascinating, haven't they? What they can do. They'll be banning them soon. Got to do something. Can't have those drones, especially if you buy them on the internet. A little bit of politics. Starmer is now favouring a relationship with China and not America. It feels a bit like that, Pamela. You're right. We should be in bed with Donald Trump if there's enough room. Trump was handing out medals today. Yeah, I heard that. I saw that, sorry. Starmer tries to hold our heroes accountable for doing the job they were sent to do. Yeah. Did you hear some of those? He read out some of the kind of things that these heroes had done. He was giving them a congressional medal or something. Unbelievable. It reminded me of the Gurkhas when I was involved in the Gurkha campaign with Joanna Lumley and with my mate Martin Howe, the human rights lawyer, because the Gurkhas weren't going to get the same pension rights. Do you remember that story? And there were two Gurkhas. If you used to listen to me then, you'd have met them. Two Gurkhas. Both won VCs. And I interviewed them, and it's the most humbling experience in the world. One of them, I've forgotten his name now, to my great distress, but I will remember. But anyway, he had held there was a machine gun post, the Japs, right? And the whole of his group of men, he was just a normal private, right? They were held down by this machine gun guy. I can't remember the story exactly, but this lad, he gets a machine gun, with two machine guns, and it's like something out of the Victor. And he runs at the machine gun nest, right? Right? He gets his arm shot off, one arm, it's gone. He carries on running and screaming. He gets into the nest, wipes them all out, right? And then he held that position, right? I think for 8 hours using their guns or whatever so that his guys could get away. He got the VC for it. But he also got shot in the eye, And you know what his only complaint was when they rescued him? Was, oh yeah, the bloody flies. I don't think he would have said bloody because he was Nepalese, but whatever the word bloody is in Nepalese, said the flies are getting in my eye. The fact that he no longer had one arm didn't come into it. They were great guys. And then that was a Conservative government, wasn't it? They didn't want to give them the same pension. You shed the same blood, but you can't have a pension. Anyway, Martin took it on and I helped out with some PR and publicity, and I got them on my talk radio show, I think. I think I was the first person to interview them. And then Joanna Lumley got involved. Oh, Gaunty, she used to say to me. But it was great because she was born in India. They were great guys. There was two of them. What's the other one called? But they were both like dead short. Hard as effing nails. Brilliant. John, I had an awful time when my son was born. I had to cook my own dinner 3 days in a row. Thank you very much indeed. That's out of order. I'm not laughing really. The Chipman 2473 has just donated £10. Thank you so much. And he's done that on YouTube. You can do the same. Just look for Super Sticker and whack in a £5 or a £10. That's great as well. And then he goes on to say, happy birthday, John. I'm loving the show. My birthday's tomorrow, but I'm like the Queen, not that kind of Queen. And I'm having a few birthdays today, tomorrow, although I'll be doing a show, and I'm having one on Sunday. I'm going to Birmingham soon. I can't wait for that. That'll be great as well. Jackie Ward, one of my regulars, says, happy birthday for tomorrow. I've just bought you a beer. Thank you. She's done that on www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. But when you get there, you can buy a beer if you want. So, Jackie, thank you. Maggie Young, happy birthday for tomorrow. Thank you, Maggie. I've got to say, Maggie, what about the Sky Blues? Couldn't believe, never in doubt. We're going to win, aren't we? We're going to win the championship. I felt a bit sorry today for the players because I was thinking a lot of those players will have to be let go, won't they? Because they won't be of the same standard. I don't know how it works. It's elite sport, isn't it? It's great stuff. Jim Garfield, thank you very much indeed. He's donated $150. He's always donating, this man. Thank you, Jim. You're a top star. So he's just donated a £1.50 super sticker. Jim Garfield, thank you very much. Right. I think we're done. I'll be back tomorrow. What's this say? Richard Pope. He says, enjoy the Indian meal with the family tomorrow, John. Happy birthday. No, it's not the family. That's why I'm nervous. It's just me and Lisa. Me, Lisa, onion barges, bit of butter chicken, whatever it's going to be, and conversation. Anyway, Den Spink says, I donated on my birthday last week. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Thank you, Den. Yes, you did. 5 beers, if I remember right. Jackie Ward, thank you. And David KT says, Rumbador Limbu, VC, 10th Gurkha Regiment. I'm not sure. Was that his name? I wish I could remember. I'll have to have a look. I've got loads of photos of me and them. One was called Yong or something like that. You know the guys, when they join the Gurkha, they basically march for something like 10 days to get to the recruiting station. And they're not guaranteed they're going to get in. They're remarkable people. And, of course, with me, my dad used to live in Nuneaton near Bramcote Barracks, where a lot of the Gurkhas were based. Then I think a lot of them are in Colchester, aren't they? You ever been to a Gurkha Indian restaurant, if that's not a contradiction in terms? I've been to 2. One down in Colchester way, but there was also one in Javier, I think it was, in Spain on the Costa Blanca. Just slightly different food. Nice. Slightly different. Richard Pope says, have a nice time, Elisa. You'll see me tomorrow. I'm going to do a show before then. Happy birthday, says Sarah Marie as well. Thank you very much indeed. It's tomorrow and I'm 65. When I'm 65. Is that the song? When I'm 65? I don't know. Right, I'm done. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you very much indeed for making this so successful. I don't think I mentioned we got over 2.5 million views now, which is brilliant. I was waiting. I was going to announce it when we got to 3 million, but that'll be soon. That'll be soon. So thank you very much. Good show tonight. Keep an eye on Starmer. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll probably do it live about 2-ish maybe. So if you want to join in live, that'll be what I'm about. But if you've joined John Gaunt YouTube, if you go to John Gaunt TV on YouTube and press the subscribe button, you get notified when I'm going live about 5 or 10 minutes before. So there we are. I've told you all about it now. Tony Foskett says, happy birthday, John. You don't look a day over 50. I'll take that. I'll take that, Tony. My mother-in-law said to me today, she said, are you all right? I said, yeah. I said, it's my birthday tomorrow. She said, is it? She said, how old are you going to be? So I said, 65. She said, you're looking good for 65, John. Look on the bright side. Compliments from the mother-in-law. Where is it going to stop? I hope my birthday lasts for a year. This is a good one to end on. Not the Eggman says. Not Dr. Eggman, 85. 200,000 UK citizens stuck on holiday. Starmer doesn't care about any of them. Harsh, but maybe true. It's a bit like when the volcano happened. I got stuck in Tenerife. I'd gone to Tenerife to open a brand new hotel. And we got stuck there for about 3 weeks. But I'd taken the family. And it was what was it called? That Sensatore Resort. So it was dead posh. Fantastic. Especially as I've got loads of mates in Tenerife. So I didn't give a shit about the volcano in the end. Right, I'm going. Right, brilliant. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Don't forget to tell them you love them. I'll see you tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. Bye-bye.